Hey everyone, and welcome back to Uncle Sam Fun English. I'm Theus.
And I'm Belle. Ready for another exciting lesson?
Absolutely. Today we're diving into speaking English naturally in real conversations.
Do you feel like your English sounds too formal or robotic sometimes?
We're going to give you the tools to speak more like a native English speaker.
Let's get started.
So Belle, why do some English learners struggle to sound natural when they speak?
That's a great question, Theus. Often, it's because they focus too much on grammar rules and vocabulary lists, instead of learning how native speakers actually talk. They end up sounding stiff and unnatural. For example, they might always use formal greetings like, "How do you do?" instead of a casual, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that. I remember when I was learning Portuguese, I was so focused on using the correct verb conjugations that I completely missed the nuances of everyday conversation. Did you ever experience something similar?
Absolutely. When I was learning Spanish, I was obsessed with perfecting my accent, but I forgot to pay attention to the rhythm and flow of the language. People could understand me, but I didn't sound like a native speaker. It's like they're reciting lines from a textbook rather than having a genuine conversation. This happens because they're translating in their heads instead of thinking directly in English.
Exactly. It's like they're building sentences piece by piece instead of speaking from the heart. For instance, they might say, "I am going to the store," instead of, "I'm gonna go to the store," or, "What are you doing?" instead of, "What you doing?" Or even, instead of saying, "hang out," they might say, "spend time together."
Precisely. And this reliance on overly formal language can make them sound robotic or even insincere. They might also miss out on idioms and slang, which are essential for understanding and participating in everyday conversations. The impact is that they may find it hard to connect with native speakers or build meaningful relationships.
So, how do we fix this and help learners speak more naturally?
Well, we need to shift their focus from perfect grammar to authentic communication. This means encouraging them to listen to real English conversations, like podcasts, movies, and TV shows, and to pay attention to how native speakers actually talk. We also need to teach them common idioms, slang, and contractions. So, the first key to speaking more naturally is using contractions. We shorten words all the time in everyday speech.
Can you give me a specific example? It's still a bit abstract to me.
Sure. Instead of saying, "I am going to the store," we usually say, "I'm going to the store." He is, becomes, he's, there, becomes, there, and so on. It makes sentences flow more smoothly. "I will" turns into "I'll," and "you will" becomes "you'll."
Okay, so instead of saying, "She is not coming," I should say, "She isn't coming?" Or even, "She's not coming."
Exactly. Both, "she isn't coming" and "she's not coming" sound much more natural. Listen to native speakers, and you'll hear contractions everywhere. It's a really simple way to sound more fluent.
Got it. So, it's about making the language more efficient and less formal, right?
Precisely. And it's not just about sounding less formal, but also about speaking with the natural rhythm of the language. Think about how you would say it in your native language. Do you shorten words? Probably. For instance, instead of, "we would have gone," say, "we'd have gone," or even, "we would have gone," which becomes, "we'd have gone."
Wow, that's a lot of contractions. So instead of saying, "I did not know that," a native speaker would say, "I didn't know that."
Absolutely. "I didn't know that" is much more common and natural. And you can take it even further. How about, "I would not have thought of that"? It becomes, "I wouldn't have thought of that." Or, "I wouldn't have thought of that."
This is starting to make sense. So instead of, "You should have told me," I could say, "You should have told me?"
Exactly. And that small change makes a huge difference in sounding more like a native speaker. Another example is, could have, which contracts to, could have. So instead of, "I could have gone," you'd say, "I could have gone."
So, using contractions is like a shortcut to sounding more natural?
Think of it as taking out unnecessary steps. For example, instead of saying, "They will not be here," say, "They won't be here." You will sound more relaxed and confident. Consider, too, how "want to" becomes "wanna."
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Want to, becoming wanna, is a classic example.
Right. And going to becomes gonna. So instead of saying, I am going to go to the store, you can say, I'm gonna go to the store. Just be careful not to overuse them in formal writing or speaking.
Got it. So, contractions are great for everyday conversations but maybe not for a business presentation.
Exactly. Know your audience and the context. But for everyday interactions, contractions are your friend. Like saying, I have got to go, becomes, I've gotta go. Remember that, and you'll sound much more natural.
So Belle, what about situations where we need to be more formal? Does speaking naturally still apply in a business meeting, for instance?
Absolutely. While the goal is naturalness, the way you express yourself will change. In a formal setting, avoid slang or overly casual language.
Okay, so I wouldn't say, what's up, to my boss. That makes sense. But how do I maintain that natural flow without sounding stiff or robotic?
Great question. Focus on using complete sentences and a slightly more elevated vocabulary, but still keep your tone conversational. Think of it as speaking clearly and precisely, not awkwardly.
So, instead of saying, gonna check it out later, I'd say, I will review that document at a later time. Is that the right idea?
Exactly. That's a perfect example of adapting your language to the situation while still maintaining a natural, understandable delivery. It's about choosing your words carefully.
What if I'm in a situation where I don't know the specific vocabulary? Like, I'm talking about a technical topic that I'm not familiar with.
In that case, focus on expressing your understanding, or lack thereof, clearly. Instead of pretending to know something, ask clarifying questions. For example, could you elaborate on that point?
That makes sense. So, honesty is key. It's better to admit I don't know something than to try to fake it and sound unnatural. I can try. I'm not very familiar with that terminology. Can you explain it in simpler terms?
Perfect. That's a very natural and appropriate response. It shows that you're engaged and actively trying to learn, rather than trying to impress anyone with knowledge you don't have.
Are there any specific phrases that I should avoid in formal settings to maintain a natural yet professional tone?
Yes, definitely. Avoid filler words like, like, and, as much as possible. Also, be mindful of your body language. Maintain eye contact and use open, confident gestures.
So, it's not just about the words I use, but also how I present myself. What about contractions? Are they a no-go in formal situations?
That's a good point. Contractions, like, I'm, or, don't, are generally acceptable, but use them sparingly. Overusing them can make you sound too casual, especially in very formal settings. You can use them, but be mindful of how many you use.
Okay, so I should be conscious of the context and adjust accordingly. If it's a very high-stakes meeting, maybe I should avoid contractions altogether.
Exactly. It's about reading the room and adapting your language to fit the expectations of the situation. The more you practice, the more naturally this will come to you. Remember that natural conversation is all about connecting with people.
What are some other ways I can practice adapting my natural speaking style for different situations?
Try role-playing different scenarios with a friend or language partner. Practice speaking in formal and informal settings and ask for feedback on your tone and vocabulary. Watch videos of native speakers in various situations and pay attention to how they communicate. Okay, so let's delve into even more advanced examples and some special cases where using phrasal verbs can really enhance your conversational English.
I'm ready. What kind of situations are we talking about? Something beyond just, wake up, and, look for.
Exactly. Imagine you're talking about a project at work that's been delayed repeatedly. Instead of saying, the project was postponed several times, you could say, the project kept getting pushed back.
Pushed back. That sounds much more natural and less formal than postponed. It's something I'd actually say in conversation.
Precisely. Or, let's say you're describing a situation where someone is trying to avoid responsibility. You could say they are passing the buck, instead of saying they are avoiding blame.
Passing the buck. That's a great one. And if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Uncle Sam Fun English. We have tons of these tips to help you improve your conversational skills.
Absolutely. Let's say your friend is going through a tough time. Instead of saying, support them, you could say, be there for them. It sounds warmer and more empathetic.
Be there for them. That's a beautiful way to put it. What about when something unexpected happens?
You could say it came out of the blue. Instead of saying it was unexpected, saying it came out of the blue adds a bit of flavor and is a more commonly used expression.
Came out of the blue. Perfect. I can picture using that in all sorts of conversations. It's much more vivid than just saying, unexpected.
Exactly. Now, let's think about how you might use phrasal verbs when talking about travel. If you're planning a trip, instead of saying, I want to visit many places, you could say, I want to hit up a lot of spots.
Hit up a lot of spots. That makes it sound like a fun, casual trip. Much more informal than, visit many places. It gives a sense of excitement.
It does. Or, if you're talking about dealing with a difficult situation on your trip, you might say, I had to deal with a lot of setbacks, but a more conversational way to phrase it is, I had to sort out a lot of things.
Sort out a lot of things. That sounds very practical and relatable. What if you're talking about someone who's always trying to show off?
Instead of saying, he always tries to impress people, you could say, he's always showing off. It's much more direct and common in everyday speech.
Showing off. Definitely. I hear that all the time. So, it's really about choosing the phrasal verb that fits the tone and context of the conversation.
Exactly. Think about what kind of impression you want to make. Are you trying to be formal and professional, or are you just chatting with friends? That will influence your choice of words.
And it's also important to listen to how native speakers use phrasal verbs. Pay attention to movies, TV shows, and podcasts. That's how you really learn to use them naturally.
Absolutely. Immerse yourself in the language and pay attention to the nuances. The more you hear phrasal verbs in context, the easier it will be to use them yourself.
So, remember to brush up on your phrasal verbs, look them up when you're not sure, and try them out in your own conversations.
Precisely. Don't be afraid to experiment and make mistakes. That's how you learn. And remember, consistent practice is key.
So, next time you're chatting with someone in English, throw in a few phrasal verbs. You might be surprised at how much more natural you sound.
Absolutely. It really does make a difference. And remember to subscribe to Uncle Sam Fun English for more awesome tips and tricks to boost your English fluency. Let's practice. I'm going to give you a scenario, and I want you to respond naturally. Imagine you're at a coffee shop and someone bumps into you, spilling coffee on your shirt. What do you say?
Okay, I'd probably say something like, oh, hey, watch it, buddy, you got coffee all over me. Was that natural enough?
That's a little aggressive. While it's a valid reaction, a more natural and polite response might be, oh, wow. That's all right, accidents happen. But could I maybe get a napkin? It's less confrontational.
Ah, I see. So, it's about being polite even when you're a little annoyed. Let me try again. Oops, no worries. It happens. Do you have any napkins handy?
Perfect. That sounds much more natural and shows good grace. It's all about tone and choosing your words carefully. Now, let's try another one. You're at a party and you meet someone new. What's your go-to opening line?
I usually say, hey, I'm Theus. What do you do? Is that okay, or is it too direct?
It's not bad, but it can feel a bit like an interview. A more natural way to start a conversation might be, hi, I'm Belle. How do you know the host? Or, hey, I'm Theus. Are you enjoying the party? It's less focused on work and more on the immediate situation.
Okay, I understand. So, it's about finding common ground and creating a connection. What if they ask me what I do? Should I launch into a detailed explanation?
Not necessarily. Keep it brief and interesting. Instead of saying, I'm a software engineer who specializes in cloud-based solutions, try, I work in tech, mostly building apps. Then, gauge their interest and expand if they ask.
Got it. Short and sweet. One more scenario. You're trying to order food at a restaurant, but the server is having trouble understanding your pronunciation. What do you do?
Don't get frustrated. Speak slowly and clearly, and maybe try rephrasing your order. Instead of repeating the same phrase louder and louder, try saying, I'd like the pasta with marinara sauce, please, or pointing to it on the menu. Visual aids can really help.
That makes sense. I've definitely been in that situation before. It's easy to get flustered, but patience is key. What if I still can't get them to understand?
Then try a different approach. You could say, "Could you please tell me the name of this dish? Maybe I'm mispronouncing it." Or, you could politely ask if someone else speaks English and can assist. Remember, a friendly attitude goes a long way.
Excellent points. It's so important to be adaptable and think on your feet. Okay, let's try one more. You're on the phone, and you can't hear the person on the other end very well. What do you say?
Instead of just saying, "Huh?" repeatedly, try something like, "Sorry, I'm having a little trouble hearing you. Could you speak up a bit, please?" Or, "Could you repeat that?" The connection isn't great.
Good call. Being specific about the problem helps them understand how to adjust. What if they still sound muffled?
Then you might have to suggest alternatives. "Could you try speaking slower?" Or, "Maybe we should try a different line." "I'll call you back." Technology isn't perfect, so it's good to have backup plans.
This has been super helpful, Belle. I feel much more confident about speaking naturally in everyday situations. Now, we invite our listeners to try practicing these scenarios themselves. Think about how you would respond in similar situations and practice saying the phrases out loud. The more you practice, the more natural it will become.
Absolutely. Record yourself, ask a friend to role play with you, or even just practice in front of a mirror. The key is to get comfortable using these phrases so they come naturally when you need them. Remember, practice makes perfect.
So, remember, using filler words naturally can make your English sound more fluent and less robotic.
A great tip is to listen to native speakers and notice how they use these words in everyday conversations.
Don't be afraid to experiment with filler words. It's all about getting comfortable and finding what works for you.
Remember to subscribe to Uncle Sam Fun English for more lessons like this.
Thanks for listening. Keep practicing.
See you next time. Bye everyone.